much better than I do. So thank you for being on here today, Kimber. I appreciate you coming on. So she's going to be talking about, we kind of wanted to go over the Mrea model, and some of these models look a little bit different than they do in the current model of the Mrea, but still it's the exact same concept. So what you're seeing here, I would say, is really your 8x8 and your 36 touch, just visually. And so she's going to be talking about a couple pieces of those. Obviously, our number one job is to lead generate. We want to prospect and market, capture them, turn them into leads and contacts. Leads, again, I would say is really kind of your one-way conversation until we can turn them into an actual contact where it's a two-way conversation. And so that's what you're seeing here. And it really is just like building a funnel, right? Like we start at the top, put them through, and then the ultimate goal is that they come out on the bottom as number 5, turning them into an appointment, moving them to an active client, getting them under contract, and closing. So just several different ways that we can do that and build this pipeline, which you can actually build in Command. I don't know, are you going to be showing any of that on the Command or more just the ad?
Yeah. It's actually kind of covering a few different things. So, which is why I wanted to, I brought it up to Terry. That's why I wanted to teach this class, because, I'm sometimes just the Facebook ad class. You're like, oh my gosh, should I talk about Facebook ads one more time, but it's still important. It's also cool to incorporate some other things and maybe just, how we just sometimes need to go back to basics.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's always, and I'm not an agent yet, anyways. Agents tell me it's always when they're busy that the need to go back to basics comes up, because we're like, well, we're busy. We'll do that lead gen later.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So then just moving over here to the right-hand side, I would say is more the lead generation model. Which is where we are adding in all of these things from Command. So the paid ads, the email, the social posts, getting the landing pages going, really just systemizing some of that kind of basic stuff that she was just talking about, adding the consumer app in there into your database, your smart plans, and then the tasks, creating opportunities. So this is just visually how you can kind of see using Command from A to Z is going to get you all the way through the entire process. Did you want to touch on anything else on these visuals here?
No, I mean, and if we need to go back,
I love how it looks. I love the new look of the model.
Yeah, it gives you a good visual.
Yeah.
If we need to go back to something, we totally can.
Okay.
But why I really wanted to go over this, and I mean, I think this, just the structure of this training is going to come up a lot over the next few months, is just that it gives us some good ideas of how to get back to basics. Okay. So hopefully you just write down, we're going to do a demo on some of this stuff. So if you've never been in Command, you'll kind of get that quick overview, but I'm hoping, we're going to kind of keep in the realm of, hey, we've been in Command before and we've done this before. But we just need some ideas, some fresh ideas about things we can do to like continue to market ourselves and get more business from Command is kind of the objective. So, let's see if this will switch. Okay. So talking about working with your sphere. Okay. So seems like super, super fundamental, right? But this is why I love Command, is that what it asks you for in your contact screen really is the information that you need to market to a client. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what brokerage you're in. If you're a real estate agent, this is the stuff that you need. And the more that you perfect it, the more likely you are to use this as a tool to get more business. So this is kind of an interesting thing. Oh, hold on. Okay, there we go. I'm like, where is it going? Okay, so fundamental, your sphere is people that know, like, and trust you, right? So new agents, when I'm talking to them about, building their sphere, or if Terry's saying, hey, let's get the people you know in your database, those are the people that you're putting in there. This is a big aha for me. So write this down, remember it. Your sphere is people that know, like, and trust you, but it's not their job to remember you. Okay. So that is huge, because we're like, okay, well, but they knew me, right? I mean, they're like, we have a good relationship. We go to lunch twice a year or 3 times a year or once a month, right? But it's not our job, or it's not their job to remember that remember us in general, but remember we're an agent, right? So the myth is, if you build it, they will come. The truth is, all businesses must drive their customers to them, right? So we know this. This is fundamental, but these are some of the things that Command can help us with. So again, this is like the training. The training was an hour, but some of this stuff I felt like was more, it was trying to incorporate all different types of production levels. So I'm just going to skim over some of this, because I feel like the demos is going to be where we're getting the most benefit out of. But this is true as far as any ad, right, that we do. Our attention span is 8 seconds, and I agree with that. But this was the thing that I thought was cool. There was a survey done, and it's a number of agents that contacted before selecting one to sell a home. 70% of clients said that they had one agent. They had one agent in mind, or they had one agent contact them, right? So the bottom line with that is really, people aren't just they're not good at following up, which is why you'll hear the suggestion a lot, especially if it's a farm. If you have a listing, you get the buyer in your database, right? Because the likelihood of that person helps them buy the house, following up with them, like the odds are in your favor. So your goal is to just be top of mind. So we have to go back to the fundamentals of 36 touch, right? Reaching out to them and reaching out to them a certain amount of times. So this is a conversation that Gary Keller had with an agent. It was over email. And the agent basically said, this 36 touch thing doesn't work. There you go, Gary. You can email Gary, by the way. It's gary@kw.com if you ever want to tell him his 36 touch doesn't work. And he said, okay, so tell me how you're doing it. And the agent said, I sent out the 36 things that's in the book, just like you told me, all the market updates, whatever, and it just doesn't work. And Gary Keller's like, well, what about the calls and the conversations? And the agent was like, okay. Well, what about those? And he's like, you're not doing a 36 touch. It says agent, but it means GK. Once you start following the system, call me back and we can talk about the results. So Terry, what do you have to add to that as far as the conversations?
Just that it's so true. I mean, we have to have the conversations, which are all part of the 36 touch. It's not just as easy as sending out 36 items. So
right.
The calls are probably the most important touch base throughout the year to really enhance all of the marketing that you're doing.
Yes. Okay, so we're just going to continue to perfect how we reach out to our people. So this is, again, we're just going to quickly skim over this. This is just a good reminder for us for lead gen, and then we'll get into the meat. So plan ahead of time. So what are your touch points? What sparks the conversation? Kind of get back to refining your scripts. And one of the suggestions from the training was whatever you're currently doing, so it doesn't matter, even if you're doing 3 hours, which I know like none of us are, so let's just admit it. Add 15 minutes of lead gen to what you're currently doing. So that's good news and a good goal for us that aren't doing anything. Crap, that's me, you caught me. Then 15 minutes is just going to be 15 minutes more. So that's kind of the goal. The challenge we're going to add to ourselves is we're going to add 15 minutes of lead gen. And then consistent execution. So we're going to talk about smart plans when it comes into that. But the baseline of smart plans that I like, there's a lot of templates that are already in there. And then you can go create custom smart plans. I feel like creating custom smart plans in my role is probably the number one thing that I can grow in. So I'm going to challenge myself that when my first month back, quote unquote, in September, is really doubling down on that and hopefully adding more value to you guys for custom smart plans, because I just feel like I've kind of put it to the wayside. That being said, the smart plan that is just so fundamental and is my favorite is your quarterly call plan. And we're gonna kind of demo some of this stuff in a minute. And the reason being is it's called the smart plan because it really is your brain. It's gonna think for you. So if I have to remind myself to wake up, right? Or I have to go set an alarm every single day, and maybe I have to set 3 or 4 alarms. The likelihood of me doing it all just to remember to do it, I mean, I'd have to remember to set the alarm and then I wouldn't get the alarm. So this is the point. It's going to tell me who to call every morning. And I just added 15 minutes to my lead gen time. So now I'm going to have time to call them, depending on how many people. Oops. It's like when I move the mouse, it goes back. Hold on. Oops. Sorry. Okay. And then obviously just focusing on one thing at a time, a handful of relationships. So with my, I actually have a smart plan that's set up. I'm not currently using it because I'm kind of on maternity leave, but my smart plan before I left was I have our agents in my database, and I have it on a quarterly call plan. And so I have 4 every day that pop up and say, you need to call this person. And what I like about it is that it's kind of random. You know how sometimes you put your preconceived notions on who you need to call? Like, well, this person really is for sure going to buy, or this person isn't. And it's like, well, maybe that person did buy a house from you 6 months ago, but maybe they're like, oh my gosh, it's good to talk to you. I just talked to my cousin and they said that they were thinking about buying a house, yada, yada, right? So it just kind of like, I know it sounds a little bit secret, but you just like put it out in the universe, right? Just call those 4 people. Those were supposed to be the 4 people you called that day. So that's why I like that. And then just come from contribution, tomorrow in our team meeting, I'm going to send out an email about this, but Jeff Eves, if you guys don't know him, he's an agent in our office. He's been here at least 7 years. He is a big stats guy, and he's going to teach us a few things of how to pull info in the MLS to be able to give our clients the accurate information. And so that kind of stuff, you'll basically, after team meeting tomorrow, you'll have a lot of info that you can pull and you can call your clients on, because it's just not, it doesn't work to pull comps that are 6 months old anymore. I think one little dress rehearsal that me and Jeff did this morning, there was one neighborhood or city that had their price had changed by 13% in the last 60 days. Oh. So yeah, so you're going to learn how to be the person that gives them that information, and then you're going to give them that information. So I don't know why I just pushed X. Okay, so this is where we're kind of going to get into everything. So building an online farm, I bet most of you know Scott Hardy or have been to his farming class, right? So we're farming is nothing new to us. So I'm just going to kind of sum this up because we don't need to be taught about farming. But when we farm, we choose a neighborhood, one that's close to us or in proximity. We make sure the price point is right because we might have a goal to make X amount per year. And if that price point is going to allow us to sell 6 homes in that neighborhood or 10, and the price point isn't there, then we're not going to hit our goal. So that's something to look at. And then turnover rate. So turnover rate's really easy. My parents' street is a perfect example of a street you wouldn't want to farm because everyone has lived there forever and probably will, at least for the next 25 years. But, you know, you're going to pick a neighborhood and you're going to assess that. So how many homes in the neighborhood total divided by how many homes sold over the past 12 months. and then you find this area, right? So this is just farming fundamentals. You can talk to Terry more about this if you need some more info on how to do a farm. Okay, so this is where I think I want you guys to write down these ideas, because this is where the training was really beneficial to me. So Command has a whole section called campaigns, and that section is meant to be a way that you can market to your database, right? There is a paid ad section, and that's the Facebook section. There's a post section where you can go schedule posts through campaigns. There's also direct mail in there. And those are the ones that we're going to touch on. So just using this specific applet in Command, we're going to be able to do a few things. So we're going to be able to run ads on listings in the neighborhood, and we're going to go through all of these ideas. Creating social posts featuring a giveaway. So I want to go down a rabbit hole with this specific idea. So a giveaway. An example of something, I'm going to just throw something out there, but if you guys have a better idea or feel like something that Utah would be more interested in, let me know. So those Yeti coolers, okay? Those are really expensive. I don't know if you've looked at them, but they're like $500. Okay, so something like that, and I'm just using an example, you don't have to do something that's $500. But what if you were to advertise a giveaway for a $500 Yeti? It's just got to be something that really, I feel like it's going to stick out. Another idea that I thought was cool was and we're going into fall, so maybe not the best idea right now, but like an outdoor movie theater, right? With like a projector and a screen and maybe a popcorn giveaway thing, right? So just any giveaway thing you can think. But using a post and having a landing page that directs them to a Google form to get specific information to enter the giveaway, right? Because we're not doing client, we may or may not be, but most people aren't doing client events, which they would do giveaways at. They're not going to home shows like they were, where they would do giveaways. They're not going to the farmer's market, all the things that we weren't doing. Well, why don't we just do a post and say, I'm giving away this, whatever this is, you pick your budget, and then you just get people to sign up with a Google form. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask them for their address. And the nice thing about that is that the only reason you're asking for it is because you're going to be delivering it to them in person. So you're going to be capturing all of this information, and the example, depending on how much you spend on it or how many people see it, if you had 1,000 people put in their information, and I think the amount of people you got would depend on what you're spending for the product. But let's say you got 1,000 people that entered to this giveaway, and you spent $500, you're looking at like 50 cents a lead. So in that, when you do out your math, it ends up being worth it. So you could even just start small with like a gift card and see, and if it returns certain results, then maybe we get to the Yeti, but that's an idea. And then running an ad featuring the giveaway, which gives it even more exposure, because your social posts are going to just be really your group who's following you. But an ad would just give it that much more. Hosting a virtual open house. So me and Terry, we kind of talked about this the other day. For virtual open houses, the best thing that I've seen people do, and Terry, you can chime in on this, is just getting excitement around the open house that's coming up and scheduling an event on your business page. And then it has people register in advance, right? When you set up the event, you can ask it to register in advance. And then once you're hosting the virtual open house, it's just you walking through the house with your iPhone, but you've captured everybody that came to the open house, even if they don't click on that live video when you actually do it. Terry, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's a great idea. You actually can put these two together too, and you could say register here to be entered into a drawing. I've seen people do that for the giveaway. So you could actually put these together to get more people to register for the open house.
That's a good idea. And then really, what is the goal of all of this? To get as many names, emails, and phone numbers as possible. And that's where I do like the giveaway, is that if I'm signing up for a virtual open house, there is no reason why I need to give you my address. The giveaway adds that feature to it. And so why do I care about all this? So what am I going to do with all of this information, right? So let's say I did get 1,000 people that registered for my giveaway on Google Forms and all of that, right? So I now have 1,000 leads. We'll shoot high. So I have 1,000 leads. So what I can do with them in Command now, they're all going to be marked as leads. So if you guys have never done a Facebook ad, once you do a Facebook ad, it will go into your Command as a lead, and it will just check it. And the reason why, and Terry mentioned it at the beginning, is it's just separating people that you haven't talked to, that you're really just having a one-way conversation with, versus someone that said, when you said, hey, do you want an evaluation on your home? And they texted back, yes. Or even if they text back, no. It doesn't have to be an affirmative response. It just is a response, right? That's communication. So those are all going to be leads. So one suggestion is to unmark all of those as leads and tagging them as something. So I'm kind of jumping around because they can fit a lot of different criteria. We started out talking about farming. So I'm going to stay in the farming conversation, but just know, because you're writing down all these and we'll send you the presentation, so you'll have all of this. There's other things you can do with it, even if it's not your farm, okay? So let's pretend we're just talking about farm. We're just trying to continue to grow our farm. So once we get leads, we're gonna unmark them as leads, and then we're gonna go in and tag them and assign them a neighborhood. So assigned a neighborhood, if their address is in there, they'll already be automatically assigned a neighborhood based on where they live. But one suggestion would be to actually tag all those people. So let's say I did an ad about Daybreak, right? Or I'm trying to get leads from Daybreak to grow my Daybreak farm. I can go create a custom tag that says Daybreak, and then I can sort it by Daybreak. I can mark it just to Daybreak. There's a lot of different benefits to that. So
Amber, I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
So when Command does ads, it doesn't gather their addresses. Like when we get leads from Command and stuff, we don't get addresses from them.
No. So that,
are you saying that we should like put them in a neighborhood like where the ad was from, like whatever the address for the ad, like put them in that neighborhood because that's where they were interested in looking?
So it's kind of jumping around, but basically it's saying the training purpose was, okay, you picked an area you wanted to farm. Here's how to get information from them. You know what I mean? So you can actually target a specific area. So you're going to target the area, but then in the how you get their information, if you did a landing page and did like a Google form, then you would get their address.
Okay.
So it's just kind of trying to get creative on how to get the most amount of information from these leads that you're getting. So that's a good question.
Okay.
You're going to create a Google form on the back end to collect the address.
Okay.
So before with Facebook ads, though, we were told to use the Facebook lead generating thing, and that doesn't collect the address. So are we not using that little checkbox anymore, and we're going to create our own?
Yeah, well, so one of the things that I learned is it's not that you do this, don't do this. It's just know what you're doing when you're doing it, which this is one of the things I learned. I learned 3 things. I wrote them down. So this is one. Landing page, directing them to a landing page is going to increase your impressions, because they're just going to put you in front of, sorry, hold on, I might have it backwards. Lead gen is going to increase your impressions. No, vice versa. Hold on, let me think this through. It's one of the other 2. Okay, no. So the landing page will increase your impressions. This is what they said on the training, which isn't a bad thing, because if you get 15,000 impressions, even if you only got let's say 10 leads, your impressions also are going to tell a story, especially if you're advertising like a listing, or if you can just even use that. Like, I'm advertising in front of your 15,000 people saw your property. You know what I mean? So impressions aren't necessarily a bad thing. And it's, it's just, there's one thing. It's going to be seen by more people. And seen means when you scroll, they see it. And there's some kind of a slowdown. A lead is just what it is, right? They clicked on it and then they submitted it. So when you use the Facebook lead gen form, you're not necessarily, you're going to put your additional interest in there to hopefully be in front of those people. But until they click on it and actually submit their information, it's not going to be a lead. So you just kind of have to decide what you're going to do. The thing you can do is that the Facebook lead gen form, if you guys have ever done that, the next thing below it is after they put in their information, you can send them somewhere. You can do that still, so you can technically use both. I haven't actually ran a giveaway ad yet, though, to say, okay, Facebook lead gen form, and then ask them for the information, because I feel like the Google form might end up being kind of the best of both worlds. Because if you think about it, they're going to go click on it, and then they're just going to have to fill out this information, which Facebook lead gen form's nice because most of it's already there, so they just have to click submit. The difference is, though, you're not giving them a carrot of, hey, go look at more pictures. You're giving them a carrot of, hey, you might win a Yeti. Those are 2 different motivating factors. Pictures, I'm like, nah, I don't want to see those pictures that bad. Like I did that. I clicked on Emily Hayes' listing the other day. I'm like, oh, that house is cute. And then it was like, sign up for your website. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to see the pictures that bad. But if it was like, hey, I clicked on it because I was already planning on entering to win the Yeti. So I'm going to go fill out that information. So I haven't taken the Google form thing down the like test route yet. I just watched this training on Thursday, but I feel like it's a really good, if you can get the clicks, it's a really good idea.
I think so too. And I really like the idea of doing both. So we
Yeah.
really should test that out, because I think you can do both. Even on the current ads that I'm running now, they do have that second option to go to a landing page, and at least they're not just running off to no man's land. They're going somewhere else that's connected to me.
Definitely. And then I'm just checking the time. We're gonna cover a few more things, and I want to leave like 20 minutes to just kind of go through how this would work, or what I would do. Okay, so these are kind of like little obvious things, but it's saying, like, if you're meeting with sellers, it says, don't be afraid to show them your list. So again, if this is your farm, if I'm Scott Hardy and I have a tag for everybody that's in the sycamores, right? and I go sycamores, 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 and then I'm going to meet with somebody that wants to sell their house, and they're like, well, we've heard a lot about you, but we're just not quite sure that that you'd be the person that we would want to sell, or we would want to sell our house with. He could go give them or show them just on his database, and obviously there's going to be sellers in this. That's not the point, but because your neighborhoods are also going to be tagged people that are interested in that neighborhood, not just people that are going to sell. He could show a list of all of the contacts that he has that are associated with the sycamores. So whether it helps him to say, look at all these buyers I have, which is the idea they had, or look at how many homes that or people that I've worked with in this neighborhood. It can help either or. And they don't know how, like, if you've really helped them sell a house or if they're just in your database, right? But it's just a tool. And then, and this is why I brought this up with the impressions. Sellers may not care about leads that you get, right? They just care that you've got the impressions or that people are seeing it. One kind of talking point that they brought up, if you were advertising every one of your listings in Facebook, and let's say you're getting a lot of impressions, and you're not getting any offers, that can be a strong conversation when you have to talk to them about price reduction, and you can show them how many people have seen their home and how many offers you're getting, right? It's just another tool that you have. I mean, it doesn't always 100% correlate, but it's something you can bring up. And then just having a copy of your marketing. So you don't actually have to like have the physical piece. I would just say like in your listing presentation, because you can, when you go create a postcard in Command, you can go download it and then save it. I would just put that image, put a couple of examples of your marketing in your listing presentation, so that sellers know what you do to market. I don't know why I keep pushing escape. Someone stop me. Okay. Oh, but actually I do need to push escape right now. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go open up an ad. And I'm just gonna start from agent.kw.com and click on a couple things just in case you've never done it. So campaigns is the section we're gonna be in. And then we're gonna go to paid ads. Whoops, it's not going. Okay, so while this is loading, one suggestion that that they gave that I don't know why I haven't thought of. I think it's a really good idea for you to be doing numerous ads every single month. But a lot of these, like the additional interest and all this stuff, it's a lot to just put in every single time. I feel like sometimes that's why people don't do it. And so a suggestion that was brought up is if you go in and create an ad, go all the way to the very end. And then if you go to, when you're done with the ad, you click that button, Save as Draft. And then once it's saved, then you can come in here and just duplicate campaign. So if you have like this perfect, every time I list a property ad, and it's got this, and it's got this, and it's got, you know, it's kind of all laid out, because your buyer interest might be different than your seller interest that you put in there, then you can just go click duplicate and you save yourself a lot of time. Or if you have like a CMA ad you like to run once a month or something like that, then you can do the same thing. So that's just a little tip that I didn't ever even think of. So once you're going to create a brand new one though, you just go click create a new campaign and then social ad. So you guys know if you've done an ad, most of these are generally, they were the same. Advertise multiple listings has a spot for you can add up to 3. The difference now is though, if you go click attract listings, for example, and I'm going to go back to this page because I've already kind of started to create it. Why you want to pick on the category that you're planning on targeting, right? Like, what do I really want to do? I want to attract more listings, is because KW has this new feature that if I go here and see where it says shuffle and use suggestion. So the suggestion is thinking of selling, not sure if it's the right time. We can help you find out what your home's worth. Maybe that's not what I'm looking for. So I go click shuffle. This home is going to sell fast. Learn about this before anyone else. And these are just suggestions. So if you want it, you obviously can put in your own stuff, but that's the difference. If I went and picked attract talent, it's not going to give me these suggestions. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to get more people to do a CMA. So I'm going to do this. I'm thinking of selling, not sure if it's the right time. And I'm like, oh, I like that one. So I'm going to click use suggestion, and then it pulls up right here. And then even the headlines will have suggestions. So if I erase this, what's your home worth is a suggestion. Need to move. What's your home worth? There's 2. So I'm going to do what's your home worth. And then this was also a suggestion. Find out what your home is worth in today's market. And then I just added click learn more, and then I added like an emoji. And so that shows down right here. So let's talk media. So it depends on what you're trying to do. So tell me what you guys think about this. This is my honest opinion time. This isn't like, I'm not trying to like punk you by your answer. So they said in the training that you should put an image that stops the scroll, right? They're like, people always think the #1 objective of an ad is to get leads. And the #1 objective of an ad is actually to stop the scroll. Because if you don't stop the scroll first, then you won't get the lead. And so I'm like, okay. So they posted a picture of like a house that was like tipping over. And they're like, see, that stopped the scroll, you know. Also, you can upload videos in here. So like maybe a video, maybe if there's a little bit more movement, that would stop the scroll. So I just found like this rickety house and I put in there. So if you were like evaluating this, do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I think it's a great idea.
It definitely caught my attention when I saw it. I was like, what is that?
You're
So-
like, she's selling the house on Wizard of Oz? Yes.
Yeah.
After it fell on the witch.
I think it also sends the message that you don't have to have a perfect house, which might hold people back. Like the house isn't clean enough, it needs lots of fixing up. But if you're advertising this, it might make them feel like they can contact you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if it's every like brand new house with like perfect hardy board and
Right.
yada, 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 is that going to stop the scroll? Right? So thinking of selling, if my house looked like that, I would be, I guess. So there's a little bit of thought process for you. There wasn't a right or wrong answer. It just makes you think. There you go. And that's also another reason why emojis can help. And I thought this was a good point, is that this has good information. It says, thinking of selling, let's find out what your home's worth, right? So it has the call to action on there. An emoji somewhere in there would help me to read the words, right? Because my objective when I'm on Facebook isn't, I'm not reading a book, right? I'm not in book reading mode. And so if I had an emoji in there, it may help me like stop for a second and then actually read the words. So I'm more likely to see the call to action. And I actually agree with that thought process. So just a food for thought. And then, yeah, so I'm just going to keep that. One suggestion, I don't even know. I have to submit this to KW because I don't even know if they know. It will have your logo already uploaded in here. And you'll notice if it's already in here, it has a square around it. So it doesn't look that great. So regardless of if your logo's already in here, I usually go and exit out and then go upload it. I've already done that, so it's kind of down here. But otherwise it has a square around it. And you guys will know when you go to do one. But it'll take 5 seconds just to X out yours and put a new one in. And then it'll look more professional. I need to probably let them know that. Okay, so this section is kind of what we were talking about. We were going back and forth about all the different things you can do. So your account's already going to be in here. And then I'm going to say, I said I wanted it to go on Instagram too. So I'm going to put ad or story if I want it to show up. I feel like ad's better for me. I feel like I'm more likely to go through stories fast than my scroll. And then destination. So here's what I was talking about, that if I picked lead gen form, it's going to send them to that Facebook lead gen form. And then it says, after viewers submit this, you can direct them to a landing page. So I could do that, or I could say, just go straight to the landing page and then go put in information. So example, if I'm like advertising a listing, I'm never going to just put a landing page, me personally, because I feel like it leaves it way too much up to chance for them to input information. But if my call to action is like, I'm going to give you a CMA and this asks for the exact information, then I feel better about it because that's the only objective of this ad.
Is there a way you can show them what that Google form looks like that
Yeah.
the consumer is seeing, or is that something?
Yeah. So I just made this. It took me like maybe 5 minutes this morning. So I just texted Terry and I said, when you're asking your client for information, what do you ask them for to pull a CMA? So she's told me what she needed. So I just uploaded her logo right here. And then it just says, by filling out this form, the Chi Tower Group will send you a current market valuation on your home. I thought that was important to add because maybe some agent a month ago or 4 months ago did one. I feel like that's important, that it's going to be current. It's going to be like up to date. This is completely free to you and helps you understand how much equity is in your home and if it is a good time to sell. So email address is required, their full name, their phone number. That's my money for my database. And full home address. I need that because I'm doing a CMA, not because I'm trying to send them anything. I just need to know where you live. And then beds, I just did like a drop down, and then baths, and then year built, number of garages, lot size. So for this one, I just said, example, if your property is half an acre, put this, no land, put NA, just to kind of give them a guide of like what they fill out. Square footage is just a short answer. And then I had 3 choices we could add additional. So Terry went in and submitted this. I had her go in and just fill it out. And then once she filled it out, this is the responses. So I can go see my responses and go dig into that.
Thanks. I feel
So
like
you
that's
built
helpful
that.
so we can see.
Yeah, and where did you build that? On the landing page in Command?
So I just went into my Google, and if you go into your Google Drive, there's just a button that says new right here. And if I just go click new, there's an option for, if you go click more, Google Forms. So if you've never done a Google form, luckily they're pretty self-explanatory, where it just says, okay, title your form. So I titled it, what did I title it? Shy Tower Group Free Market Evaluation. So I just typed that in there. And then I said, this form is to, you know, so I just kind of helped them understand what they were about to do. And then I just went in and added my questions. What do I need to know from you in order to do a CMA? So pretend you're just sitting in front of them saying, Kate, what's your address? Writing it down. You're just getting it this way. You could do this as an ad, but you could do this as a touch for your entire database right now. And tie it to them filling it out. They'll get a CMA and be entered in the giveaway. I don't know. You could like triple them.
Kimber, Lisa's asking, how did you add my logo to the top of that? Could you show
Oh
us that?
yeah. So once you go in and add these, so the questions are going in here, and then there's multiple choice, drop down or short answer. The cool thing about this is, you guys, I'll show you this in a second, Lisa, but the cool thing about this is I started typing full name, and it knows you probably want a short answer. When I said, what was the other thing? Address, it says, oh, it's probably going to be longer paragraph. So it kind of predicts it for you. Beds, I think it didn't really know. So that's when I went and said, okay, I want to give them like multiple choice. I could say short answer, but then some people might type one, some people might put one. I just kind of wanted to control it more. So then when I go add the options, I just go click on option one, click on option two, 3, 4. So these would be the options for this specific question. And then when I have another question I want to add, I go click add, and then it adds a new question. You always want to make sure though, when you add the question, turn on this required button. So to answer your question, Lisa, so after you've gone in and filled out all of the information, when you go, you can customize the theme right here. This is, I changed it to red because I felt like red was more consistent with like KW and my colors and all that. But let's say my logo had orange in it, I could change it to orange and then have the background just be white, or, you know, all the different variations. And then right here is where I uploaded Terry's logo, just where it says header in theme options. And then when I want to preview it to see, okay, what does my final product look like? I can just go click that preview button. Also settings, just go click on all of these little icons right here just to make sure everything's good. I clicked collect email addresses because I wanted to make sure every response had an email. And uncheck this. If you don't uncheck this box, if they don't have an @kw.com email address, they won't be able to submit a response. So pretty much you want to make sure that that's there. And then presentation, I just unchecked this because they don't need to submit another response. One's fine. And then it's not a quiz, so you could just click save and then send. It's going to say, okay, do you want to send an email? I just went and clicked link and then clicked shorten URL. And then it just shortens this to be a little bit, it's not as long basically. And then I copied that, and that is what I put into my Facebook ad. So really you're not sending anything from here. You're just grabbing the link and then doing the other things with it.
So when are you notified, or how do you find the responses? Because just to kind of diverge and see, like I've had people upload on my website, like 5 stars, their review of me, and I have no, it doesn't show up on my page, and I don't know where to go to like approve it. So is there somewhere, how do we find that people have done this?
Yeah, so the thing about this is I think it's such a good idea, but it's totally independent from command. So there's the good, I give you the good news is you have this cool thing to use. The bad news is it's no way connected. So one idea that you can do then is maybe you could do the Facebook lead gen form and then have them redirect to this, so that it gets both of the information. They just might be confused if they're inputting information. They feel like they already submitted it and then you're asking to submit it again. But the easy thing is you can just download the responses and then you can do a lot of copying and pasting if you need to kind of move it over there. So on your end, when you go into your Google and click on the form, anybody I send the link to can't see this, but because I made it in my Gmail, the responses I can go look at anytime and grab that info. And then really, I'm going to use this information. I mean, if anything, I used it as a lead gen, but now I've got some information where I can call them and really just, I mean, this is an appointment right here. I can have this already pulled up, or if I have any questions, depending on, and Terry, chime in. I don't know, have you ever done, like, do you just do CMA on the fly? Or do you kind of have it prepared ahead of time? Like,
Yeah,
if you've
so
never met them.
I would prepare it ahead of time for my own knowledge, and then the way that I would get the appointment is, hey, I've received your information. I've put together the initial analysis of your home. It gives me a really good range. I think your home could go for between this point and give them a really big range. And then I would say, in order to narrow this down to an actual valuation of your home, I would just need to see your house. It'll take me, 15 minutes to run through really quickly. Would there be a time we could get together to do that? So I kind of give them a choice, like, do you want this $50,000 range? I'm happy to email it to you now. Or in order for me to narrow it down, I book the appointment. So obviously the goal is to get the appointment.
Okay, I like that. So hold on, I'll go back here. Okay, so couple of things with this that you may or may not know. So targeting a custom audience is obviously this expert targeting. I'm gonna go in, let's see if I can do this, hold on. Stop share. Oh wait, where's the, gosh, you think I'd be an expert at Zoom by now? Oh, there's a chat box. Okay, so I have, I think somewhere. Okay, so I have these. I shared them on our internal Facebook page, but I am gonna go and just paste these in the chat so you guys can just copy and paste it, and then paste it wherever you want in your notes or on your desktop or somewhere. Those were the interests that they used in the training. So go and copy those. But back to this. Oh gosh, we're at 1. Can you give me 3 more minutes? Another thing you can do too when you target your database. So this was an idea that I hadn't really thought of. When you go target your database, there's a couple of things to know. So you can go create a new audience. Think about the tags that you've created. So remember when I said, oh, you have a neighborhood, maybe you have the neighborhood that's called the Sycamores, but you can also go create tags for those too. So just think, maybe you call this audience the specific neighborhood. And then if I'm gonna go filter it by a tag, then I can do that right here. So if I've created like a daybreak, I think I did, or something. We'll just pick whatever. Where is it? Okay. I don't know. I thought I created it. Maybe I didn't. So you can go select any tag or by a specific neighborhood. You might have to have like somebody in your database that has this. Sycamore. Oh, maybe it's called the Sycamores. Huh? trying to show you an example. It doesn't really matter. Okay, let's just pretend that it's this neighborhood in Texas. Then it's going to pull all of the people in my database. It's going to target them as well, and in that specific neighborhood. So there's a couple of things to note with this. So see how I can select both? So you can target both, but just know you have to have at least 100 people, 100 contacts in your database in order to do this. Another thing too is it's still tied to Facebook. So if, for example, I have my email for Facebook is my personal email, but let's say what you have me in the system as is my work email. You don't have my Facebook email, then those aren't really going to speak to each other as far as targeting that person through Facebook, right? Because we're not sending them an email. We're trying to be seen on their Facebook page. So those are two different things. However, over time, as you continue to build and get leads through Facebook, when you're getting a lead from Facebook, if you do the lead gen form, it's populating the email that they have associated with Facebook. So you'll, over time, continue to get that Facebook email more. So does that make sense? If you're targeting them. But so you can just select both, but just know those two little caveats when you're doing that. So then you select the location. Again, when we're talking about farm, that's going to come into play. And then we're going to go and save it. Really, I feel like these interests are very important. I've just even seen my online activity over the last few days.
I would agree, and I would say the more the merrier. I haven't been capped at anything. I know Eric Hawker, we had him on here last week, and he says that he does a minimum of 20. I was coaching 10, but I would say the more the merrier on the interest. It makes your audience bigger. I think they're hugely important.
Yeah. And then duration and budget. Again, it's just how much you want to spend and the duration that you want to do. So one thing, you guys may have noticed it. I'll put it in the chat. There's just a new, I know we already had one a couple months ago, but there's a new article out and out front about high converting ads. And so if you looked at the old one, look at this one again, because there's just more opportunities, or I guess more suggestions on what to do. See this house before anyone else, register for our Zoom open house as an example. And then this will show the return. So these people spent $50, 6,300 impressions, 600 clicks, 59 follows through the landing page. And I don't know where it says leads or anything like that. But if they got a follow through the landing page, then that means they captured the information. So that 13. Is a lead. Yeah.
I think it was 13. So it's
okay.
Leads.
Yeah. And then this is just like vacations in Maui. Yay. Vacation rentals. New location, new home. More info. This ad generated 10 leads. I feel like 10 leads is really good for one ad. This one generated 23. So I'm just going to put this link. You guys get these emails, but I will put it in the chat too. So you can just copy and paste that link. Because again, other people have done good things and you could just do the same thing. So I will have Terry follow up with oh, hold on. I can add the link to this too.
Did you guys know you can save your chat box? So you don't have to copy and paste all of it? So when she's done adding all the links for today, you can just click next to the file button where it says more and save the chat. And then it saves to your computer. So then you have all the notes from today.
Are you using an Apple? Because I don't see that.
I'm not using an Apple. So
Mm.
click on the chat box, and do you see where it says to everyone?
Yes.
And then to keep going over to the right, it says file.
I don't
Do you
see
see
that.
the little box that says file?
No.
Do you see a little box that has 3 dots?
Nope.
Does
Am I
anybody
the
else
only one?
see what I'm seeing? Does anybody see this?
I'm on my iPad, so it's not, I don't, not on the iPad, it's not there.
Mine's frozen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we
I
can
can't
hear
be
you.
the only one that has this. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Just you're clicking on the chat, and it's like you're getting ready to type a message. Do you see that? And right to the, just to the right of it, there's a kind of a shadow box that has 3 dots in it. And then if you hover, mine says more. Do you have anything that says file or more? Nothing. Kimber, do you?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to add the presentation to this chat box thing.
That's strange. I'm
What
just
is
on a, I'm on a laptop, just a PC. And then it just says save chat.
I'm checking through like settings to see if there's somewhere that I could change it.
Jonathan doesn't see it either. That's so weird.
Probably, well, definitely, maybe on your phone it is different.
But
I'm
you see
using
it,
a Chromebook.
Yeah.
it's just in the chat box as if you were going to type up a message. It's just sitting right there. Anyway, I guess you'll have to copy and paste until we figure that out. But it's a cool feature once you figure out, like at the end of my Zoom calls, I'll just do that if, you know, if we've had a lot of links or something. Thanks, Kimber. And so you're putting in this recording. Is that what you're putting in there?
Let me see if that works.
Oh, no, the presentation. Got it.
Yeah, the presentation, because I know those ideas that we talked about, so you don't have to write them all down or recall them. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, hold on one second. So does anyone have any questions while I do that really quick? No, good.
It was so helpful. Thank you. I love the idea.
Like
of
I
this
said, it's
moving
a lot of
along.
those fundamentals. It's nothing that we probably didn't already know, but I didn't think about the Facebook lead gen form and just some different ways. I haven't even thought about what the best way would be to use that yet. You know, like I know you can do one or the other, but even doubling them up might be a good idea. So just let me know.
You just, I think with any Facebook ad and any of the tools that are in here, we just have to kind of test them and try them, and some will work better than others. This just isn't a one and done. You can't just run one ad and be done.
Yeah.
I love it. I just wrote out 3 or 4 different addresses I want some ads ran on, because I'm thinking let's get some CMA requests. I love it. Such a good idea.
Yeah, especially right now. And then make sure you guys come to team meeting if you can tomorrow, because Jeff has some really good info, and it's ways to pull reports in the MLS that you'll use forever if you're not already using it. So,
okay.
Cool. Thank you, Kimber, so much. We appreciate your help.
Thanks,
Very
Kimber.
valuable.
Talk to you guys later.